Success has always been one of those words that feels heavier than it should. Everyone chases it, whispers about it, even worships it, but rarely do we stop to think about what it truly means or why it often seems just out of reach. I remember sitting on the edge of my bed one rainy afternoon, the city skyline outside my window blurred with wet streaks of water, realizing that I had been chasing success like it was some object I could seize. Promotions, accolades, money, influence, they all felt like lifelines I had to grasp, yet each time I thought I had one in my hand, it slipped, leaving me breathless and questioning my own worth. That day, I began to understand that the secret of attracting success wasn't about chasing anything at all. It started with a question. Why did some people seem to draw opportunity as effortlessly as the ocean pulls the tide, while I felt like I was constantly paddling against the current? I watched them, not with envy, but with curiosity. The way they moved through life, calm, deliberate, unhurried, as if the world was bending subtly to their will. It wasn't luck, not entirely. There was a pattern, a rhythm, something invisible yet undeniably real. And then it hit me. The people who attract success are not merely working harder or trying louder. They are aligning themselves with forces they understand, forces rooted in clarity, focus, and intention. I began to experiment with this understanding. I stopped frantically applying to every opportunity, attending every networking event, and forcing myself into every possible corner where success might reside. Instead, I began to cultivate what I call inner alignment. Every morning, I would sit for 20 minutes, not planning my day, not thinking about achievements, just existing in awareness, breathing, feeling, observing. It felt absurd at first. My mind screamed that I was wasting precious time. But slowly, the clarity emerged. The frantic haze of must do, must have began to lift. And in its place, I noticed things I had always ignored. The subtle gaps where opportunity quietly waits. The people who need a solution that I could provide. The moments where timing, patience, and presence intersect. The first lesson was this: success is attracted, not chased. The world does not reward frantic energy. It responds to presence. When I showed up fully, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I noticed a shift. Doors opened, not because I begged them to, but because my awareness allowed me to see the path. I realized that I had been wearing blinders, a costume of busyness that hid me from the very opportunities I sought. I had been so focused on the destination that I had ignored the signals along the way. Signals that whispered, "This is the way. This is the connection. This is the step you must take." The second lesson: success favors clarity of intention over intensity of effort. For years, I had been scattered. I chased every lead, every possibility, every shiny promise, believing that more effort equals more results. But my energy was divided, my focus fragmented. Once I learned to define what success actually meant for me, not what society, family, or peers dictated, I discovered that the universe responds to specificity. I did not need to chase everything. I needed to identify the path that resonated with my purpose and walk it with unwavering attention. The clarity of knowing why I pursued something became magnetic. People noticed it. Opportunities noticed it. The world, in a way, began to reflect the focus I had cultivated inside myself. The third lesson was harder, and it tested me in ways I had not anticipated. Success is inseparable from surrender. At first, surrender sounded like giving up, and I recoiled from it. How could letting go bring anything? But what I learned is that surrender is not weakness, it is mastery. It is the recognition that control is an illusion, that outcomes cannot be forced, that life has currents we cannot see but must respect. When I surrendered my obsession with results, I stopped strangling possibilities with desperation. I began to respond instead of react, to act instead of push. And in that state, the unexpected started happening. Doors I had not knocked on opened. Conversations unfolded that I could not have scripted. Connections formed that were serendipitous yet precise.
I remember a particular afternoon that cemented this truth. I had been working on a project I felt passionate about, something that could change the trajectory of my career. I had exhausted every lead, every contact, and still faced rejection after rejection. Frustration and despair were high, and I was on the verge of giving up. But then I paused, closed my laptop, and simply allowed myself to breathe. I stopped thinking about the outcome. Hours later, almost accidentally, I encountered a person at a coffee shop who introduced me to an investor, not through networking, but through casual conversation, genuine curiosity, and a willingness to listen rather than pitch. That interaction set off a chain reaction I could never have orchestrated. It became clear: success comes to those who can hold tension without losing peace, who can engage the world without clinging to control. Another vital element I discovered: success thrives on generosity and service. When I shifted my perspective from what I could get to what I could give, the doors seemed to multiply. Helping someone with advice, sharing knowledge freely, connecting people without expectation. All of it became a kind of invisible currency that attracted wealth, opportunities, and respect. It is ironic but undeniable. Those who hoard, compete relentlessly, or manipulate often find themselves trapped in scarcity. Those who lift, share, and contribute naturally draw abundance because they are aligned with the rhythms of life, with the invisible flow that rewards contribution over consumption. Perhaps the most subtle but crucial truth is that success is inseparable from self-trust. I had wasted years doubting myself, seeking validation from others, letting fear dictate my actions. But the moment I decided to trust my instincts, my rhythm, my capacity to navigate uncertainty, everything changed. It was not arrogance, but confidence tempered by humility. I began to listen to my intuition in meetings, in emails, in personal choices. And time and again, the intuition that had once seemed whimsical led me directly to fruitful outcomes. Self-trust, I realized, is a silent magnet for the right opportunities because it signals alignment to both the self and the universe.
3 years after I started practicing these principles, my life had transformed. I had not chased success, yet I had achieved more than I could have imagined. Projects that I had despaired over succeeded. Partnerships that seemed impossible materialized. Recognition came not as a result of aggression or self-promotion, but as a reflection of my focus, clarity, surrender, generosity, and self-trust. I had learned to attract success rather than chase it. The shift was subtle, almost imperceptible, but its effects were undeniable. Looking back, I understand now why most people struggle with success. They treat it as a transaction, more effort, more hustle, more noise. But life is not a ledger, and outcomes are rarely linear. Success is a resonance, a vibration, a state that requires alignment with the principles that govern both the inner and outer world. To attract it, one must cultivate presence, clarity, surrender, generosity, and self-trust, not as tactics, but as a way of being. I often tell this to people who ask me how I did it, and I see their eyes glaze over with skepticism. They want a checklist, a hack, a shortcut, but there is none. The secret is ancient, deceptively simple, and profoundly difficult to embody. It is the art of existing in alignment with one's own values, purpose, and rhythm, and allowing the world to respond in kind. It is the paradox that those who let go of the desperate chase are the ones who receive the spoils of effort with grace. Now, when I wake in the morning and see the world outside my window, I do not feel the hunger of lack. I feel the calm excitement of possibility. I do not chase success, I inhabit it. Every conversation, every connection, every decision is guided by the principles I have learned, and life flows in ways that feel inevitable yet astonishing. I have come to understand that success is not a prize, not a trophy, not a title. It is a state of harmony between intention and action, between inner peace and outer engagement. To attract it is not to manipulate, but to align. And in alignment, the world conspires gently, mysteriously, inevitably. And that is the secret of attracting success. Not the pursuit of it, but the mastery of oneself, the cultivation of presence, the surrender of control, and the generous, deliberate engagement with life. Those who learn this truth will find themselves carried by a current, invisible to the frantic, unnoticed by the desperate, and undeniable to those who have chosen the quiet path.
Discomfort is not your enemy, it's your compass. Every man searching for meaning eventually collides with this truth. The Stoics saw luxury not as a prize to be sought, but as a slow decay of the soul. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, slept on hard floors once a month to remind himself how little he truly needed to survive. He wanted to inoculate his spirit against the poison of comfort. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor commanding legions in vast lands, wore rough cloaks and ate simple food, even when he could have feasted like a god. Epictetus, born a slave, taught that true freedom comes not from escaping discomfort, but from ceasing to fear it. These men understood something most modern people have forgotten. Comfort breeds complacency, and complacency quietly steals your time, your purpose, and your strength. The modern world worships comfort. Entire industries are built around it. Softer mattresses, faster delivery, smoother entertainment, endless distraction, all engineered to make life effortless. But what has this pursuit of ease done to us? Look around. Despite having more convenience than any civilization before us, we are weaker, more anxious, more easily offended, more disconnected from meaning. Our bodies soften, our minds scatter, our spirits shrink. We have traded resilience for relief, discipline for dopamine, purpose for pleasure, and yet we wonder why we feel hollow inside. The Stoics warned of this centuries ago. They understood that human greatness does not emerge in ease, it emerges in resistance. Discomfort, they said, is the crucible of growth. It's the forge where virtue is hammered into shape. The man who avoids hardship avoids transformation. The one who refuses friction refuses mastery. Growth hides in resistance because resistance reveals who you truly are when the comforts are stripped away.
We waste years chasing comfort. Better couches, faster cars, more luxurious vacations, bigger homes, softer lives. But each new layer of comfort dulls the flame that once burned inside us. Every convenience purchased with money often costs a little of our soul's hunger. Comfort makes you forget what you're capable of enduring. You begin to believe the illusion that life should always be pleasant, that struggle is a mistake rather than a mandate of existence. Yet every great man in history knew the opposite was true. Struggle is the tax of greatness. Discomfort is the proof that you're alive and growing.
Seneca once asked, "Do you suppose that you will mount to the heights of greatness by easy paths?" The answer, of course, is no. Nothing magnificent is born from ease. The body grows stronger by resisting weight. The mind grows sharper by facing challenge. The spirit grows wiser by enduring loss. It is through discomfort that we meet our limits and learn to surpass them. Comfort whispers the most dangerous words in any language. You're fine as you are. But the truth is, you're not. Not yet. You are a work in progress, and progress demands friction. The Stoics trained themselves to see discomfort not as punishment, but as preparation. When Seneca slept on the ground or ate coarse bread, it wasn't self-torture, it was liberation. He was freeing himself from dependence on comfort because he knew comfort is the first chain that binds the mind. A man addicted to luxury is a man easily controlled. Take away his conveniences and he collapses. But take away a Stoic's comfort and he remains unshaken. That is freedom, the ability to remain whole when all that pleases you is gone.
Comfort lulls men into a slow death. It doesn't kill you suddenly. It erodes you gently. You stop striving. You stop questioning. You stop pushing. You become passive, reactive, waiting for life to entertain you instead of creating meaning yourself. The man who seeks ease dies slowly. The man who embraces discomfort lives widely. The one who chooses the hard path discovers that each struggle contains an unseen gift, self-respect. You cannot buy that. You earn it by doing what others won't, by rising when it's easier to rest, by working when it's simpler to quit, by speaking truth when silence would be safer. We live in an era where people confuse comfort with happiness. But happiness, as the Stoics defined it, is eudaimonia, a flourishing of the soul through virtue, courage, and wisdom. Comfort produces the opposite, stagnation. You cannot flourish while numbing yourself. You cannot discover who you are while avoiding every difficulty. Real joy comes not from comfort, but from competence, from knowing you can face chaos and stand firm. Epictetus taught his students to welcome hardship as training for the soul. He said, "Difficulties show what men are. For the same reason that fire tests gold, adversity tests brave men." When you understand that discomfort is training, not torture, you stop running from it. You start using it. You realize pain isn't there to punish you. It's there to shape you. The cold morning you don't want to wake up to is building your discipline. The workout you dread is building your endurance. The awkward conversation you avoid is building your integrity. Every discomfort is a classroom, and the lesson is mastery.
Luxury makes men fragile because it convinces them that the world owes them ease. But the world does not care about your comfort. It rewards your resilience. The Stoics didn't pray for easier lives. They trained for stronger minds. Marcus Aurelius, besieged by war and betrayal, still wrote, "If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining." Those words hold the entire philosophy of fortitude. The modern man, when faced with discomfort, complains. The Stoic, when faced with discomfort, concentrates. If you feel friction in your life right now, don't run from it. Lean into it. That friction is the whetstone sharpening your soul. Every resistance you face, financial struggle, rejection, failure, heartbreak, is a sharpening stone. The pain you feel is proof that life is shaping you into something more precise, more purposeful. Don't envy the man who lives in luxury. Envy the man who wakes up every day and still fights. The one who sweats, bleeds, fails, and rises again. He's alive.
the one who hides behind ease, is merely existing. Comfort is seductive because it feels safe, but safety is an illusion. The comfortable man believes he's protected, but he's actually unprepared. When adversity finally arrives, and it always does, he crumbles because he never built the strength to withstand it. The Stoic doesn't pray for safety, he prays for strength. He doesn't beg for the storm to stop, he trains to stand firm within it. The secret is to deliberately practice discomfort before life forces it upon you. Fast when you could feast. Wake early when you could sleep in. Speak the truth when you could stay silent. Challenge your body and your mind while you still have the choice, so when you no longer have one, you're ready. Seneca called this premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evils. It means to imagine difficulty before it arrives, so that when it comes, you meet it as a familiar opponent, not a stranger. He said, "The man who has anticipated the coming of troubles takes away their power when they arrive." In every era, men who mastered themselves understood this. The warriors of Sparta trained barefoot in cold weather. The monks of the East sat in silence for days to conquer the mind. The Stoics fasted, walked miles, endured criticism, and refused excess, all to prove that comfort was not their master. They saw hardship as the path to inner dominion, and that path still exists today, waiting for those brave enough to walk it. Discomfort is not punishment, it's the universe's way of introducing you to yourself. The man you become on the other side of pain is the man you were meant to be. When life strips you of ease, it reveals your strength. Comfort hides your strength, struggle reveals it. And when you learn to love the process of discomfort, something remarkable happens. Fear loses its grip. You begin to see challenges not as threats, but as invitations to grow. The pain becomes purpose. So, if you find yourself struggling right now, financially, emotionally, spiritually, understand this: life is not punishing you, it's preparing you. The tension you feel is proof that you're still alive, still capable of evolving. Each difficulty you face is a divine reminder that you haven't reached your limit. Comfort whispers, "Stay still." Growth shouts, "Move." Which voice you listen to determines your destiny. Remember, luxury makes men fragile. Struggle forges them unbreakable. When you stop fearing pain, you start using it. The world is full of men who waste their potential because they never learned to be uncomfortable. They want strength without struggle, wisdom without suffering, peace without discipline. But those things cannot exist apart from pain. They are refined by it. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way."
So embrace your discomfort. Sleep on the metaphorical hard floor. Do something difficult daily. Every time you choose the harder path, you reclaim a little of your humanity from the claws of convenience. Every moment of struggle is an investment in resilience. Life owes you nothing, but it offers you everything if you're willing to suffer for it. You are not meant to glide through life effortlessly. You're meant to wrestle with it, to collide with challenge, to grow calloused in spirit and soft in heart. Let the world chase comfort. You chase character. For comfort may soothe you now, but it will enslave you later. Discomfort may wound you now, but it will free you forever. So when you wake up tomorrow and feel the weight of dread pressing against your chest, smile. That's the world giving you another chance to build yourself. That friction is your proof that you're still alive. Lean into it, for in the end, comfort is a silent killer, but discomfort, embraced with courage, is the beginning of life itself.
There's a strange kind of pride hidden in pain, the pride of wanting to save everyone. It wears the face of kindness, of purpose, of meaning, but behind it often hides a quiet desperation, the fear of being useless, the need to matter, the illusion that the world's chaos can be healed through our will alone. That is the seed of what many call the Messiah complex, the compulsion to rescue, to fix, to carry burdens that were never ours to bear. It is noble in appearance, intoxicating in purpose, but it quietly destroys the one who holds it. The world has always celebrated saviors. From myths to movies, we are raised on the idea that to be great is to be the one who saves. We want to be the person who brings peace to the family, who reforms a broken partner, who lifts a friend from despair, who carries society toward light. It's an instinct born of empathy and ego intertwined, and it's the same instinct that leads so many into emotional exhaustion, resentment, and disillusionment. The Messiah complex is not merely about helping others. Helping is human, essential, beautiful. The problem begins when helping becomes an identity, when one's sense of worth depends on being needed. The Savior cannot rest, because to rest would mean to face themselves. They are addicted to purpose, terrified of stillness. They don't rescue because they must. They rescue because they don't know who they are if they stop. This is why many people who live in the role of the Savior often find themselves surrounded by chaos. They attract those who need saving, consciously or not. The more they help, the more they are needed. It becomes a cycle. The rescuer's sense of importance feeds on the suffering of others, even when their conscious mind wants to end it. They confuse codependence for compassion. They mistake exhaustion for devotion. And when the people they try to save don't transform, when they relapse, resist, or turn on them, they feel betrayed. They wonder why their love wasn't enough, why their effort failed. But that's the trap. They thought it was about them. They thought their strength could rewrite another's will. They forgot that growth is not a gift we can give. It is a choice each soul must make on its own. In relationships, the Messiah complex takes many forms. It's the partner who believes they can fix the other's trauma through love. It's the friend who sacrifices every boundary to keep others from falling apart. It's the parent who cannot let their grown children fail. The leader who takes on every burden to prove their worth. And it's the quiet martyr, smiling through fatigue, believing suffering is proof of goodness. But what makes it dangerous is not only what it does to the Savior, it's what it does to the saved. When you rescue someone too often, you teach them helplessness. You rob them of struggle, which is the furnace of strength. You become their crutch, and they forget they can walk. And when you finally collapse under the weight of it all, they stumble, not because life is cruel, but because they were never allowed to stand on their own. Real compassion is not control. It's not fixing. It's not ensuring outcomes. Real compassion is witnessing another's pain without trying to own it. It is helping when asked, guiding when invited, but allowing the other person's journey to unfold in its own imperfect rhythm. The Messiah complex resists this. It says, if I don't do it, no one will. It assumes the world will fall apart without its intervention. But life has a strange way of healing itself when we step out of the way. At its core, the Messiah complex is a form of arrogance disguised as virtue. It assumes omniscience, believing we know what is best for others, believing we understand the architecture of their suffering better than they do. It also assumes omnipotence, believing we have the power to rewrite fate. But even love cannot override another's will. Even light cannot enter a heart that is not ready to see. This realization often comes with heartbreak, because the one who lives to save will eventually burn out. They will discover that not everyone wants to be saved. Some want to be seen, not fixed. Some want to walk their own crooked path, fall, and rise again. And when that truth sinks in, the Savior feels abandoned, not by others, but by their own illusion of purpose. Yet there is redemption in that disillusionment. It is the beginning of humility. It's the point where you stop seeing yourself as the center of other people's healing and start seeing yourself as a participant in a much larger flow. You realize that helping others does not require losing yourself, that empathy does not demand martyrdom, that love, when pure, gives without the need to control outcomes. Still, letting go of the savior identity feels like death. Who are you if not the one who fixes? Who are you if no one needs you? These questions haunt the mind that has equated usefulness with love. But on the other side of that fear is freedom. The freedom to simply be, to exist without the burden of being everyone's solution. The irony is that when you stop trying to save everyone, your love becomes more powerful. Because it is no longer rooted in fear or ego, it becomes spacious, patient, real. You stop demanding that others change to ease your discomfort. You learn to stand beside suffering without drowning in it. And sometimes in that stillness, transformation happens, not because you forced it, but because you made room for it. The Messiah complex thrives in guilt. You feel guilty for saying no, guilty for resting, guilty for setting boundaries. It whispers that self-care is selfish, that burnout is noble. But guilt is not morality. It is manipulation turned inward. True goodness does not require the destruction of the self. Even the most selfless acts lose their virtue when they stem from compulsion rather than choice. Modern life feeds this complex. Social media glorifies impact. We are told that if we're not changing the world, we're not enough. We measure our worth by how much we give, how much we do, how many we inspire. But there is a difference between influence and interference. The world does not need another hero. It needs presence, empathy, and awareness. And sometimes the most radical act of service is to tend to your own wounds, because unhealed saviors do not heal. They replicate their pain through others. A rescuer who has not faced their own darkness will always seek it in others to feel useful. That's why so many people end up in cycles of saving and resenting, loving and breaking, helping and losing themselves. Healing that begins within is the only kind that radiates without distortion. It's also important to recognize that not all saving is conscious. Many people inherit this role early in life. The eldest child in a dysfunctional family who learns to parent their siblings, the sensitive child who becomes the emotional anchor for wounded parents, the overachiever who learns that love must be earned through usefulness. These patterns create adults who equate being needed with being loved. And until they see that clearly, they will keep reenacting the same script in every relationship.
Breaking free from the Messiah complex doesn't mean becoming indifferent. It means transforming your understanding of responsibility. You are responsible to others, not for them. You can offer wisdom, not control. You can give love, not dependency. You can hold space, not solutions. This distinction is what separates compassion from codependence, empathy from exhaustion, and love from saviorhood. At some point, everyone who has carried this burden comes to a breaking moment, the collapse of the illusion that their sacrifices will fix everything. That moment hurts. It feels like betrayal, like meaning itself is slipping away. But it is also the beginning of peace. Because only when you stop trying to be God in other people's lives can you meet the real God in your own. The greatest paradox is that by releasing the need to save others, you finally begin to help them. Because now your energy is clean. It is not manipulative, not anxious, not performative.
It gives others permission to rise by themselves. You are no longer rescuing. You are witnessing, empowering, allowing. And that is the kind of love that truly heals. When we stop trying to be the Messiah, we become more human. And that's all the world ever needed. We learn that being human is not about saving everyone. It's about understanding, connecting, being present in the brief window of time we have. It's about holding someone's hand without carrying their cross. So if you find yourself always fixing, always saving, always drained, pause. Ask yourself who you would be if you didn't have to be the Savior. Would you feel empty, or would you finally feel free? The answer will tell you where your healing begins. Because the truth is, the world does not need more saviors. It needs more people who are whole. People who can love without losing themselves. People who understand that the only person they were ever meant to save was the one they see in the mirror. And when that person finally finds peace, their quiet presence will heal far more than all their frantic saving ever could.
There comes a moment in every life when the walls of control begin to crumble. It happens quietly, like the sound of ice melting at dawn, barely noticeable, yet irreversible. The human instinct is to grasp, to hold, to manage every moving part of existence with the illusion that certainty can be wrestled into obedience. But life, with all its mystery and indifference, was never meant to be owned. The harder one tries to possess it, the more it slips through trembling fingers. True peace, as countless souls have discovered, begins not in mastery, but in surrender, an act not of defeat, but of profound trust in the rhythm of things. From birth, people are taught to cling. Children hold tightly to their parents' hands, then to their toys, later to ambitions, to partners, to identities, to the fragile story of who they think they are. Society rewards control. The successful man is the one who commands outcomes, who bends circumstances to his will. The disciplined mind, the relentless worker, the one who never gives up, these are the heroes of modern mythology. And yet, beneath their victories, many suffer in silence, tormented by an invisible anxiety, the fear that everything they've built could collapse in a single unforeseen moment. Control is seductive because it promises security. It offers the comforting illusion that the world can be predicted, that chaos can be managed with enough effort or intellect. But it's a fragile illusion. The truth is, life has never belonged to the planner. Storms arrive without warning. Loved ones change their hearts. The body ages. Opportunities vanish. All the while, the human mind continues to fight, screaming into the wind, "I can fix this!" even as the tide washes away every sandcastle of certainty. Letting go is an art, precisely because it defies instinct. It asks for faith where control demands force. It invites stillness where anxiety begs for action. To let go is to realize that peace is not achieved through domination, but through alignment. It is to understand that what unfolds, whether pleasant or painful, is not an enemy to resist, but a teacher to learn from. Ancient philosophers, from the Stoics of Greece to the sages of the East, spoke endlessly of this truth. Marcus Aurelius, emperor and philosopher, wrote in his Meditations, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." To accept is not to submit passively, but to see clearly that no amount of resistance changes reality, only one's perception of it. Suffering in its purest form is the refusal to accept what already is. Peace begins when that refusal ends. In the modern world, letting go seems almost irresponsible. People are told to take control of their lives, to manifest their destiny, to never settle. But control and creation are not the same thing. Creation flows from harmony. Control stems from fear. The artist who lets the brush dance freely often paints with more truth than the one who forces precision. The same applies to life. The more one insists on forcing it into shape, the less authentic and more brittle it becomes. The universe has its own tempo, and peace arises when one moves in time with it, not against it. Consider loss, the ultimate test of letting go. A person spends years building a life, collecting possessions, nurturing relationships, investing love and hope into fragile structures. And then, through accident or time or betrayal, those structures dissolve. The heart fractures. Grief arrives, demanding its due. In those moments, people discover the futility of control. No amount of planning can prevent the impermanence of things. But within that grief, a quiet wisdom waits. The one who allows themselves to feel fully, to hurt, to mourn, to release, finds that the pain eventually softens. It doesn't disappear through resistance, it transforms through acceptance.
Letting go, then, is not a single act, but a way of living. It is the daily practice of loosening the grip on what cannot be kept. The mind loves to replay, to revisit the past, to reimagine conversations and rewrite regrets. But memory is not a prison unless one refuses to leave it. Every day is an invitation to start anew, to forgive the past for not being different, to forgive oneself for not knowing better, and to forgive life for being beautifully unpredictable. Control is the language of the ego. Surrender is the language of the soul. The ego says, "I must make this work." The soul whispers, "Let it unfold." The ego fears uncertainty. The soul recognizes it as the canvas on which possibility is painted. To live fully is to exist between those two voices, listening to the guidance of reason while trusting the quiet wisdom of life's unfolding. In relationships, the struggle for control is often disguised as love. People try to mold others into their expectations, forgetting that genuine connection arises only from freedom. Love cannot breathe under the weight of possession. It flourishes only where both souls are allowed to be as they are. The greatest act of love, therefore, is the willingness to let another person be fully themselves, even if that means they eventually walk away. To let go of control in love is not to stop caring, it is to care without conditions. Many fear that letting go means losing everything, but the paradox is that in releasing, one gains more than they ever held. When a person no longer clings to the illusion of control, they become open to change, to growth, to the infinite expressions of life that were once invisible behind the walls of fear. The rigid branch snaps in the storm, but the flexible reed bends and arises again. Strength, it turns out, is not resistance, it is adaptability. There is a quiet freedom in realizing that life owes no guarantees. Every sunrise is a gift, not a promise. Every relationship, every opportunity, every breath, temporary. When one accepts this, gratitude replaces entitlement. The smallest moments become precious precisely because they are fleeting. The sound of rain, the laughter of a friend, the warmth of a hand, these become enough. The need to control vanishes because there is nothing left to demand from life that it has not already given. Stillness, not struggle,
is where the deepest answers reside. When the mind is constantly scheming, demanding, predicting, it misses the subtle language of the present. But in stillness, in letting go of what should be, truth reveals itself. Problems that once seemed insurmountable begin to untangle. Emotions that once felt unbearable begin to soften. Peace does not rush in like a flood, it arrives like dawn, quiet, inevitable, transforming everything in its light. Letting go is not easy. It requires courage, the courage to face uncertainty, to admit vulnerability, to surrender the fantasy of control without knowing what will take its place. It asks for patience, for trust in forces unseen. But once one has experienced the serenity that comes from release, they never wish to return to the old ways of grasping and fighting. Life becomes lighter, not because the world is changed, but because the heart no longer wages war with it. One must learn to let go not only of what hurts, but also of what once helped. Even beautiful things, when clung to, become cages. The mentor who once inspired, the dream that once guided, the identity that once gave meaning, all must eventually be released to make space for new forms of being. Growth is not accumulation, it is shedding. Every chapter of life demands the death of a former self.
This truth becomes evident in aging. Youth believes in control, the power to shape destiny, to bend time. Age knows better. Age teaches that peace lies in flow, not fight. The body changes, the world evolves, and what once mattered begins to dissolve into insignificance. In that surrender, wisdom emerges. Those who accept impermanence are not bitter about loss. They are tender toward life. They see each moment as sacred because they know how easily it disappears. And perhaps that is the essence of letting go, not a single act of release, but a lifelong practice of tenderness toward the fleeting nature of all things. It is learning to say, "This too belongs," even when it hurts. It is the understanding that peace is not found after the storm, but within it. To stand in the chaos of existence and still breathe calmly, that is mastery. Control is built on fear of death, the fear that when we lose something, we lose ourselves. But letting go reveals that nothing truly essential can be lost. The love we give, the compassion we show, the lessons we learn, these endure beyond every ending. When one stops clinging, they discover that life continues to give endlessly, that endings are often disguised beginnings. The art of letting go is therefore the art of living fully. It is saying yes to uncertainty, yes to change, yes to the mystery that refuses to be solved. It is understanding that peace is not the absence of movement, but the acceptance of motion. Everything flows. The river does not control its course, it becomes its course. So too must we. In a world obsessed with achievement and control, surrender feels radical. But it is the most natural state of all. Birds do not strive to fly, they simply open their wings. Flowers do not struggle to bloom, they unfold when the season arrives. Humanity, too, was meant to live in rhythm, not resistance. And when one remembers this, they rediscover what it means to be truly alive, not in constant conquest, but in constant communion with life as it is. Peace begins where control ends. It begins when one looks at the uncontrollable world and says, with quiet conviction, I trust. Trust that the path, however winding, leads somewhere meaningful.
Trust that what falls away is making room for what is meant to be. Trust that even in letting go, one is held by life, by time, by the same mysterious force that turns seeds into forests and chaos into order. To let go is not to lose, it is to return to the natural ease of being, to the simplicity of trust, to the gentle truth that nothing real can ever be taken away. And once a person learns this, they no longer live in fear of what might end, but in gratitude for all that ever began.
In a world obsessed with motion, doing nothing feels like betrayal. From the moment we wake up, we are conditioned to act, achieve, optimize, and push forward. We are told that stillness equals laziness, that rest is wasted time, and that every pause threatens our progress. Yet beneath this noise lies a forgotten truth, that stillness itself can solve what relentless striving cannot. The greatest transformations in nature, mind, and spirit often occur not through force, but through surrender. To understand the power of doing nothing is to rediscover a law older than ambition, that life unfolds most perfectly when we stop trying to make it so. The ancients knew this secret well. Lao Tzu, in the Tao Te Ching, wrote, "When nothing is done, nothing is left undone." To the uninitiated, this sounds like nonsense. How can inaction achieve completion? But Lao Tzu was not advocating idleness. He was revealing a deeper rhythm to existence, one that moves through balance, not struggle. The Tao, or the Way, flows effortlessly. It does not strain, and yet it accomplishes all. The river does not push against the rocks. It shapes them through time. The tree does not force its growth. It opens itself to the sun and lets life rise through it. So too, the wise person learns that doing nothing is not inaction, but alignment, allowing what is natural to unfold without interference. Stillness, in this sense, is not the absence of activity, but the absence of resistance. It is the mental state in which the unnecessary ceases. Most of our effort is wasted not in doing what must be done, but in fighting what already is. We struggle against outcomes, emotions, and imperfections, hoping that through more control we will find peace. But peace cannot be forced. When we let go of control, we discover that calm has always been present beneath the turbulence of desire. The effort that once seemed noble often reveals itself as an obstacle to clarity. Doing nothing, in the spiritual and philosophical sense, means suspending the ego's obsession with fixing, managing, and perfecting so that reality can breathe again. Consider the mind itself. The harder we try to silence it, the louder it becomes. The more we chase happiness, the faster it runs. This paradox sits at the heart of all inner struggle. The Stoics understood it too. Epictetus taught that disturbance comes not from things, but from our judgments about them. When the mind relaxes its grip, the world softens in response. Doing nothing, therefore, becomes a radical act of trust, a faith that order will emerge when we cease to interfere. In the same way that muddy water clears when left undisturbed, the soul finds clarity not through agitation, but through stillness. Modern culture, however, glorifies the opposite. We live in the cult of busyness. To be still is to risk being irrelevant. Productivity has replaced presence as the measure of worth. Even leisure is scheduled, optimized, and tracked. Yet beneath this feverish activity, a quiet fatigue spreads, a spiritual exhaustion born not of effort itself, but from disconnection. We no longer know how to be. Our hands move faster than our hearts. Our thoughts outpace our breath. The tragedy is not that we are tired, but that we have forgotten how to rest. We confuse motion with meaning, and by doing so, lose both. Doing nothing, then, is not withdrawal. It is resistance to the tyranny of constant doing. It is a form of rebellion, an act of reclaiming one's being from the machinery of endless progress. When we stop, even briefly,
we begin to see again. The simple act of pausing, of not reacting, not planning, not striving, opens a space in which perception deepens. The Japanese call this ma, the silence between notes, the emptiness that gives shape to form. Without it, there is only noise. Stillness restores proportion. It reminds us that life is not a problem to be solved, but a mystery to be lived.
In relationships, doing nothing can also heal more than words or effort ever could. When conflict arises, our instinct is to argue, to defend, to explain. Yet silence often speaks with more wisdom. A pause allows emotion to cool, perspective to settle, and empathy to return. The art of doing nothing in communication is the art of presence, being fully there without needing to fix the moment. It is the stillness of the listener that gives the speaker room to hear themselves. Effort divides, stillness unites. Even in creativity, stillness is indispensable. The artist who forces inspiration finds only repetition. The thinker who demands insight meets only noise. Great ideas emerge not from continuous motion, but from intervals of rest, from letting the subconscious arrange what the conscious mind cannot. The poet Rilke advised a young writer to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart. This patience is a form of doing nothing. It is the trust that understanding ripens on its own time. Like a seed buried in soil, insight grows best when untouched by impatience. There is also a physiological wisdom in stillness. The body, when given rest, heals itself. The breath, when slowed, calms the heart. Meditation, the disciplined practice of doing nothing, reveals how much energy is wasted in ceaseless thought. Through stillness, the nervous system resets, stress hormones fall, and clarity returns. Neuroscientists confirm what sages intuited, that a quiet mind restores balance, and that the brain's default mode, when not engaged in tasks, is where integration and creativity occur. Doing nothing, biologically, is essential to functioning well. Stillness, however, should not be mistaken for passivity. Doing nothing is not the same as giving up. It is a strategic withdrawal from futile struggle. Sometimes the wisest action is no action. When the archer pulls the bow too tight, the string snaps. When the sailor fights the wind, the boat capsizes. Action has its time, but wisdom is knowing when to stop. The power of doing nothing lies in discernment, understanding the boundary where effort ends and grace begins. To be still is not to abandon effort, but to align it with the rhythm of life rather than the noise of will. In times of uncertainty, the urge to act becomes strongest. We feel that by doing something, anything, we can regain control. Yet this is when stillness is most needed. Panic produces blindness. Calm allows clarity. The greatest leaders and thinkers understood this paradox. Marcus Aurelius, even amidst war, reminded himself to be like the rock that the waves keep crashing over. It stands unmoved, and the raging of the sea falls still around it. Stillness in such moments is not weakness, but strength, the ability to hold one's center while the world sways. It is what separates the frantic from the wise. Nature models this perfectly. The seasons change without rush. The moon waxes and wanes without effort. Even decay serves a purpose. When a field lies fallow, it gathers strength for the next harvest. The tree in winter
appears lifeless but is merely conserving energy. Doing nothing in the natural order is not wasteful, it is renewal. Humanity's tragedy lies in forgetting that we are part of this same cycle. We demand perpetual summer, endless growth, and constant harvest, ignoring that dormancy is what makes life fertile again. Spiritually, the power of doing nothing touches the deepest truths of existence. Many traditions teach that enlightenment is not gained through addition, but through subtraction, the peeling away of illusion, desire, and fear until only awareness remains. Meditation, contemplation, and prayer all lead toward this inward stillness. When we sit in silence, we do not create peace, we uncover it. We see that the self we thought we had to improve was never broken to begin with. Doing nothing in its highest form is the realization that we are not the doer at all, that life acts through us, not because of us.
The modern person resists this idea. To surrender control feels dangerous. We equate non-doing with failure. Yet the paradox of mastery is that it arises only when control dissolves. The musician does not think of each note, they disappear into the music. The martial artist does not plan each movement, they flow with instinct. The master craftsman, the poet, the philosopher all reach a point where effort gives way to effortless action. This is Wu Wei, the Taoist ideal of non-forcing, where doing and being become one. It is in this union that true power lies, not the power to dominate, but the power to harmonize. There is also a moral dimension to stillness. Much of the harm in the world arises not from malice, but from restless doing, from the compulsion to act without reflection. The politician who must always respond, the leader who cannot pause, the individual who cannot wait, all contribute to chaos by refusing stillness. Ethical action requires space. Without the pause that stillness provides, we repeat patterns of reaction. Doing nothing at times is the highest form of wisdom, the refusal to act from ignorance. But doing nothing requires courage. It means facing silence, uncertainty, and the discomfort of our own minds. We're addicted to distraction because it shields us from ourselves. To stop is to meet what we've been avoiding, our fears, regrets, and loneliness. Yet beyond that discomfort lies freedom. Stillness reveals that what we feared was never separate from us. In the quiet, we rediscover that life does not need our interference to be whole. The universe, left to itself, is complete. Ultimately, the power of doing nothing is the power of returning to awareness, to presence, to the simplicity of being. When we learn to sit quietly, we begin to see that life unfolds without our constant management. We become witnesses rather than manipulators. This witnessing is not passive, it transforms perception itself. The same world appears softer, more luminous. Problems that once demanded action dissolve into understanding. What effort could not untangle, stillness makes clear. So the next time you are tempted to fix, to push, or to rush, pause. Let the moment be. Trust that in doing nothing, something greater is at work. Just as the tide does not need to struggle to reach the shore, you do not need to struggle to be yourself. Stillness is not escape, it is return. It is the realization that what you seek through effort has been waiting, quietly, within you all along. Doing nothing, paradoxically, is the highest form of doing, not because it achieves what effort can't, but because it reveals that effort was never needed in the first place.
Why do you struggle in life? Have you ever asked yourself that question in the quiet hours of the night, when the world is asleep and your thoughts echoing your mind like relentless waves? The truth is, most people never stop to question the nature of their struggle. They live as if life were a series of obstacles to overcome, battles to win, or goals to achieve. And yet, when the night comes and the work is done, the victory feels hollow, and the exhaustion remains. There is a reason for that emptiness. There is a reason why so many people struggle, and understanding it is the first step toward freedom. Struggle is often a symptom of misalignment. We are born into a world that expects us to follow a path, to pursue success, to acquire possessions, and to define ourselves by the opinions of others. We are told that happiness is found in achievement, recognition, and external validation. And so, from a young age, we chase these illusions, believing that effort alone is enough to secure peace. But effort without alignment is friction. It is like rowing upstream without ever checking the current. No matter how hard we push, the boat moves little, the water resists, and we grow weary. Another reason we struggle is attachment. We attach ourselves to outcomes, to people, to ideas, and even to identities that are transient by nature. We cling to relationships that no longer serve us, to careers that drain us, to dreams that belong not to us, but to someone else's expectation. This attachment creates suffering, because reality does not bend to desire. Life moves according to its own laws, indifferent to our hopes or fears. The more tightly we hold on, the more pain we invite. True freedom arises not from control, but from the courage to let go. Fear is perhaps the most pervasive cause of struggle. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of loss. These invisible chains bind us to a life of limitation. Fear convinces us to stay in jobs we hate, relationships that diminish us, and patterns of behavior that sabotage our growth. It whispers that change is too risky, that comfort is safer than authenticity. And yet, struggle persists precisely because we resist the unknown. Growth requires discomfort. Mastery requires courage. Struggle is the echo of fear unmet, the call to face the shadows we prefer to ignore. Often, people struggle because they lack self-knowledge. They live according to scripts written by society, parents, or peers, never pausing to ask, what do I truly want? Who am I beyond the roles I play? When life is lived as a performance, every step feels like labor, every decision feels heavy, and every success feels incomplete. Self-awareness is not a luxury, it is a necessity. To understand one's own values, passions, and limits is to row with the current instead of against it. Clarity of purpose transforms effort from struggle into flow. Struggle is also a product of resistance to what is. Life is always moving, always changing, and always impermanent. Yet so many of us fight reality as though resistance could shape it. We resist the aging of our bodies, the impermanence of relationships, the inevitability of loss. Resistance does not protect, it intensifies suffering. There is a profound peace in acceptance. Not resignation, not passivity, but a clear-eyed acknowledgement of what is. Acceptance does not remove challenges. It allows one to face them with calm and discernment. Another subtle reason for struggle is comparison. In a world fueled by social media, advertisement, and curated lives, it is easy to measure oneself against the illusions of others. We look at a neighbor's success, a friend's relationship, a stranger's lifestyle, and we feel inadequate. This comparison is a thief of joy. It shifts focus from personal growth to external validation, from presence to envy. Struggle often arises not from scarcity, but from this persistent discontent, this silent judgment against one's own life.
Financial pressure is perhaps the most visible source of struggle, yet it is rarely the deepest. Money alone does not create happiness, but scarcity magnifies every other challenge. Bills pile up, dreams are deferred, and stress becomes constant. Yet those who understand the principles of prioritization, gratitude, and wise stewardship find that even in scarcity, life can be rich. Struggle is intensified when external lack meets internal resistance, when the mind clings to fear instead of focusing on resourcefulness and resilience. Relationships are another arena where struggle thrives. We are social beings, yet interactions are fraught with conflict, misunderstanding, and expectation. Lovers, friends, family, each can be a source of joy and a mirror of inner turbulence. Struggle in relationships often arises from unmet expectations, lack of communication, or the refusal to see others as they are, rather than how we want them to be. Mastery in life involves learning to navigate relationships with patience, empathy, and acceptance, recognizing that others are not extensions of ourselves, but independent souls with their own paths. The human mind is a factory of struggle. It generates stories, doubts, and anxieties relentlessly. Every thought that resists reality, that demands certainty, or that judges self and others adds weight to the burden. Meditation, reflection, and mindfulness are tools to observe the mind without becoming enslaved by it. To notice thoughts without identification is to begin to untangle the web of struggle. The mind becomes a tool rather than a tyrant, and life, though still filled with challenges, becomes lighter. Struggle is not always a consequence of error or misfortune. Sometimes struggle is a teacher. It is the pressure that tempers character, the friction that sharpens resilience, the challenge that exposes the strength within. To resist struggle is to resist growth. To embrace it with discernment and awareness is to transform hardship into wisdom. Life's difficulties are not punishments. They are opportunities to discover courage, patience, and perspective. Another source of struggle is the refusal to forgive. Grudges, past wounds, and resentment chain the heart. Every day spent clinging to old pain is a day spent in conflict with oneself. Forgiveness does not absolve others of their actions. It liberates the one who forgives. Struggle diminishes when the heart is free, when anger is released, and when the present is embraced without the weight of yesterday. It is also worth noting that struggle is often self-imposed. Habits, routines, and thought patterns accumulate over years, sometimes decades. Procrastination, perfectionism, and the need for approval are subtle forms of self-sabotage. Recognizing one's role in creating struggle is empowering, for it shifts agency from circumstance to choice. Change is not guaranteed, but the first step is acknowledgement. I have contributed to this. I can also contribute to its transformation. Yet, despite all these reasons, there is hope. Life is not meant to be a constant battlefield. Struggle, when understood, becomes a signal, a guide, the teacher. It points to where growth is needed, where detachment is necessary, and where awareness must deepen. The key is not to eliminate struggle entirely. This is impossible, but to transform the relationship with it. To struggle consciously is to learn, to act wisely, and to release that which cannot be controlled. The most profound truth about struggle is that it is temporary. No state endures forever. Pain, loss, confusion, and hardship pass, just as joy, ease, and clarity arrive. To surrender to the impermanence of life is not weakness, it is liberation. It is to recognize that one is a participant in a larger dance where
Ebb follows flow, and night yields to day. Mastery is found not in eliminating struggle, but in riding it with awareness and grace.
So why are you struggling in life? Perhaps because you are clinging too tightly to control, because fear governs your choices, because attachment binds your heart, because comparison poisons perspective, or because you resist the impermanence of existence. Perhaps because the mind is unruly, the body weary, the heart bruised, and the path unclear. Perhaps because life is teaching you the lessons you have yet to learn in forms too subtle or too painful to ignore. And yet, there is a way forward. Begin by observing, without judgment, the patterns of your struggle. Breathe into the discomfort. Release the need to control outcomes. Let go of grudges, resentments, and attachments that no longer serve. Choose presence over obsession, awareness over compulsion, patience over impatience. Trust that life unfolds according to laws you cannot yet see. Align your actions with your values and act where you can, release where you cannot. Embrace struggle as a teacher, fear as a messenger, and uncertainty as an opportunity. Recognize that mastery is not the absence of challenge, but the presence of clarity, courage, and wisdom in the midst of it. Transform effort into flow, resistance into acceptance, and pain into insight. The moment you stop asking why life is difficult and begin asking what life is teaching you, struggle begins to lose its weight. Life is not meant to be endured. It is meant to be understood, navigated, and lived fully. Struggle is part of that journey, but it does not define it. You are not your struggle. You are the consciousness that experiences it, the awareness that can choose, the presence that can release. To live is to learn, to stumble and to rise. To struggle is not failure, it is the invitation to grow, to awaken, and to master the self. And so, the reason you struggle in life is not punishment, nor mere misfortune. It is a call to awareness, a push toward alignment, and an opportunity to discover strength beyond effort, freedom beyond control, and peace beyond circumstance. The moment you understand this, the moment you stop resisting and begin to observe, the weight of struggle begins to lift. You realize that life is not something to conquer, but something to navigate with awareness, with courage, and with the profound understanding that surrender and acceptance are the true keys to mastery and ease.